This is Chris Hansen.
This is TJ Hushmanzada.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
This is Jamie Hudson.
And I need to let y'all know something. You're listening to.
And you're listening to.
It just makes sense.
This just makes sense.
It just makes sense.
Woo! Way better than Chris Hansen.
Yeah, seriously.
Some people do this for the love of the game. I think that we just do this so that we can drink on weekdays.
Every day is a day of reckoning? What? Because of a 30-yard pass for a first down, Gus? And he looks me up and down. He goes, "You're hella vaccinated up, aren't you?"
You know what else is rude? Both of you talking about how you went through a fat phase, and I don't know when I'm going to get out of it.
We're 30 years into this.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not applying myself, huh?
The show about conspiracy theories made by former lovers.
They make you want to scream. It just makes sense.
It makes me want to scream, fix your audio. You're on episode 95. Get a mixer.
That's a teaser for season 3. That's the energy we're bringing.
Sportsmanship is way overrated. Winning is what's rated.
I need the headphones now.
Whatever.
Literally,
Literally.
like when girls are laughing and they go, "I'm literally dead." If you're literally dead, you're dead. That's what that
You're
word
so
means.
dead. Take it off. Take it off.
If you're literally dead, you're actually dead. And they go, "Oh my God, I'm literally deceased." You're dead. That's what that means.
Can you get past that? Or would you be able to get past that in a relationship?
Nope. No, sir.
Or a girl, like, literally or actually?
Like, if that was the moment where she goes, "I'm literally deceased," because I said something funny, and I was basically on a road where I can go this way and the night would go well, and I have to call it out. 100% of the time I have to call it out, and we'll just end it.
What about just like, "I'm dead"? That's so funny. I'm dead.
That's fine.
You can do that.
Just
Because when
literally.
you
Same with
say
me.
"I'm literally dead," that means you're dead.
and it just means that you're a liar.
Yes, because you're not dead. I'm talking to you.
True.
So you're a liar and you're
Can't
alive.
trust them.
Okay, so other deal breakers. What if she laughs like, That's
fine. I actually find that funny.
You do?
Yeah. You like dating donkeys is what you're saying?
Or like the geese laugh or like snorting. I find all that shit funny. That doesn't bother me.
Snorting.
Someone who sounds like a
isn't
dolphin.
Yeah. Or the sound disappears, or like, and then they go back to it. Like none of the laugh shit bothers me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would.
I never have issues with mouth sounds either.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Well, welcome
Let's
to
not.
welcome
Let's
to It Just Makes Sense, presented by Boneyard Beer. There they are. Here this is. Here we are once again, week 3. E3, S3 E3, boys.
Got my Boneyard shirt on.
Woo!
The Happy Wheelie.
Happy Wheelie.
The
Happy Wheelie.
You're going to have to
very
get
nice
yourself a new shirt called the Out on Bail, part of the Lake Place series that Boneyard has. They've got themselves a new beer out, a fresh hop double IPA.
Double.
Yeah. They got themselves some Simcoe hops, as one would have it, from Woodburn, Oregon. They
It's
have
that
a
time of
limited run called Out on Bail.
It's that time of year for a double IPA, huh?
Fresh
we're getting
out
there.
of jail, fresh hop dreaming.
I think Peter has himself a hop venom.
I sure do. Yeah, I went straight for the double tonight.
Chug it.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to do that.
Just do it, puss.
Suck up, dude.
Just the whole thing right
Yeah.
now, huh? I'm not going to.
Don't do it.
I got called out for my very poor shotgunning at the tailgate this weekend at the Oregon Ducks game.
Yeah.
A bunch of old men were
You got called out
teasing
by
me.
older guys?
Teasing me.
Well, what had occurred is Riley and friends from Eagle Point, Cody and Derek, where they shotgunned a beer, and these older gentlemen had come over and been like, hey, we know this guy from Germany, and he's never seen a shotgun. He doesn't really understand the concept
of shotgunning beers.
Next time you guys do one, can we film it? So later on, obviously, they did another one, and Peter joined in.
Was not good for me.
And they roasted it.
What was your mistake? You splash it all over you?
You know what? As soon as I popped it, I inhaled a little too much. So I sucked down. I got a little extra liquid in the gullet there, and then it caused a bit of a reaction. So that was and it's so fun. Old people do this. They're so cute with their technology. They just like pick up their phone and then they just like splay it directly in your face, very uncomfortably. And also like we're just gonna be around on this guy's phone for forever. Like he goes, oh yeah, those guys, right?
Forever. When he needs to give somebody a visual representation
of how not to
of an American shotgun, they can just show you.
Hey, remember, this is how we should
You're
do it.
the
That
example.
will be my
Yeah. Well, no, I think it was mostly Riley, and Riley is very, very good at shotgunning. He prides himself in that.
Is that something to be proud of?
I don't think so, especially when you're, post maybe
24,
20. I'll even say 26. I'll give you. But he can do it, and it is impressive.
I did make eye contact with a late grade schooler, maybe like between 5th to 7th grade, as I'm about to just like take down this Bud Light or whatever we were drinking, and I don't know if I should have felt ashamed of who I was in that moment, or like, all right, dude, like take notes type of a thing, right? Because
you're like being a representation of irresponsible drinking.
Right, exactly. And I'm also in my 30s at this point.
Well,
so.
I'm pretty sure it was probably his two uncles that were with us. So I think he was probably staring at them, not you.
Possibly.
I think they're probably the worst influence, is my point.
Yeah, so, we've already kind of dabbled into this, but Braxton and I, fresh off of an Oregon Ducks game, my first Ducks game since 2011 as a fan, so it was nice to be back. It was a great day. A
beautiful day.
A very, a picturesque day.
Yeah, unexpectedly beautiful.
And we had fun at the tailgate, and it started out well. And then it took a bit of a turn for a minute, and then it got good again. So we get there, and we don't have a parking pass or anything like that. We go to one that says, the Boy Scout lot, right? Mm-hmm. We go in there. They tell us to go down. They start waving us through. It's quite disorganized. We see a lot. We park in a spot, right? Not a big deal. We get out the folding table. Braxton starts maybe even firing up the little propane grill that he has, and we're getting there, and before we know it, about 15 minutes into our tailgate party, our soiree is one might call it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is a middle-aged small man. He seems small sitting in his car. Starts hollering at us from his automobile, and he said something to the effect of "Hey, you're in my spot." And I go, oh, sorry. He goes, I pay good money to be in that spot. And we're like, sorry, man. We had no idea. There's no number on here. He goes, bullshit. Very aggressive with us.
Whoa.
And I went up to him, and I was the one who engaged with him. I was like, that's very aggressive to be in front of your friends. And he goes, so how long are you going to be?
Ooh.
And I go, well, we're just going to pack up, man. I don't know why you've taken it to this level. We're not arguing with you.
I wouldn't have moved.
Yeah, and I mean, there was I even looked at the parking pass again. There was no number on it.
Yeah,
it was very confusing.
And they had just misdirected us. It was really just. I mean, this is run by the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, it's literally
bunch of
8th graders or whatever, just waving people through,
throwing water on each other, and they don't give a shit.
Yeah, and I've never been in this lot in particular, so I see a spot, it's empty, go and park there. That's the idea, right? You paid for a parking pass.
Yeah, at the entrance to this parking lot. But anyways, he was just so aggressive.
Quite a dick.
And so we had found another area. The Boy Scouts led us to the path of righteousness. And
it was great. They put us right next to the Hop Valley tent.
Yeah.
They snuck us in this really great spot. It was the perfect spot to actually be in. It was like a legit tailgate spot. It wasn't just a parking space or
Absolutely.
anything.
So they ended up working it out, and then we didn't like load up the car. We just moved our stuff out of the space so they could just quickly get in. We didn't want to deal with this guy anymore. And so I ran back once I knew where Pete's or our new spot was, and to get like the table and the cornhole and everything we'd left there. And the driver was nowhere to be seen, and his friends were all kind of standing there. And I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry about the confusion. We sincerely didn't know these were reserved spots." And you looked down, and there was a number in the space, but you could barely see it.
And even
barely
still, like,
see
I mean, it's not as if that number...
Yeah, and what does that mean?
What does it mean?
You're in a government building. There could be reserved spots for the workers or whatever. So we didn't know.
Was he actually trying to show you his ticket, or was he just like, get the fuck out?
He was just get the fuck out.
He was like, bullshit, I've had this spot for years.
For 6 years.
Well,
I've been
so then
coming
at this point, you should be aware of people stealing your spot all the time. I mean, sure, this isn't the first time this has happened, dude.
But anyways... I apologized, and I was like, it sincerely wasn't a mistake. We really didn't know what was going on. And they're like, dude, it's totally fine. And the other guy was like, yeah, I didn't know he was a tough guy. And I was like,
yeah.
Well,
all of a sudden he was fronting for his friends, but
Yeah.
like no one was on that level by
no,
him.
you could, because I walked up when Pete was talking to him, and I immediately looked at who we were dealing with, and his friends were kind of like taken aback at his anger. But as you said, the new spot was perfect. It was in the grass.
Awesome.
We were next to these guys who were very friendly. They wanted a shotgun, obviously.
They invited us back to their tailgate anytime.
Yeah.
It was the antithesis. It was the exact opposite of like how the
energy of the first guy.
How the first thing
First guy
started.
seemed very on brand for Oregon fans. Huh?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, in some ways. And, and I think we'll probably get into this later. I did experience more of what you sometimes talk about, Miguel, more so than I have in the past at Autzen, I would say, in this game.
It's the BYU effect.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, it was, and of course, like, you guys know me, like, it took me a while to shake that off because I was just kind of like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, it's not as if I, like, this was some sort of injustice against you or anything. But, I mean, this isn't the first time we've gotten into it in parking spots. I remember at Oregon State when Mitchell almost got ran down by that guy in the pickup truck. Also a very small guy.
I was ready to put that guy in his place.
Must be a thing. Must be a whole thing. But, yeah, so there was the parking fiasco. There was the only negative thing about the tailgate there. They had a porta potty there, and I don't know if you went into those porta potties right where we were at. Someone blew up that bathroom, like bad. Like I didn't.
Didn't you say you blew it up?
No. I did something else. I did not blow up the
What,
bathroom.
you jerked it in there?
No, I know what you're referring to. What you
I did
in
not
the
blow
other
up that bathroom, no.
I thought you came back bragging to the campsite that you blew it up.
No.
Was
I
that
did not.
Riley?
That maybe that was Riley who did that.
Because somebody in our
All
group bragged about blasting that bathroom.
It was Derek.
not me.
It was there.
D Walls.
Definitely
Yeah.
not me.
Sounds like a D Walls thing to do.
Yeah.
Definitely not me. So we have that. We have the, as you were talking about, Oregon Ducks fans making national headlines for the "Fuck the Mormons" chant, which was not well received.
No, not great.
That's terrible.
I wouldn't say it's terrible because
You wouldn't?
no, I think
You're addressing a big, that 90%, if not all of them, are Mormons. Is that any different than a mostly white school playing at HBCU and then chanting "fuck the blacks"?
I think that's way different.
Is it?
I do. Because, I think it's fairly normal at Notre Dame games to fuck the Catholics. I think, is there a big difference to you in saying fuck the Mormons or fuck the Cougars? Like, do you think those are both equally bad? Or would you rather that the mascot?
The mascot is not offensive at all. Fuck the Mormons is way offensive.
You're talking about
about,
religious liberty and freedom.
Yeah. No, I realize that it's bad, but I wouldn't say it's the worst thing.
I'm not saying it's the worst. There's worse things in the world. This is a chant at a sports event, but still, that's bad.
I also know that BYU is quite often in national headlines making racial slurs at their games towards players. The Mormons are just I shouldn't say the Mormons. The BYU fans are just as guilty is my point. I think is why I think it's not as bad. I do think that it is a bad thing, and I thought it was a little cringy being there and hearing it, but.
And contrary to popular opinion, I did not start those.
No, he did.
I get what you're saying, but I tend to, when stuff like this happens, I don't like to jump on the victim blaming part where we find what's wrong with the victim and say, well, they've done some shit in the past. Like, let's focus on what was said on Saturday, and we don't go, well, BYU fans are just as bad.
Yeah, you can't.
Like, we're finding what's bad with them to justify what was said to them. I don't like going that route. I'm focused on fuck the Mormons and who said it at that time.
And talk about like not knowing like consequences and actions, because you have these a couple of videos that were shared, and now there's like just probably a row of just a few people. They are the face of that at this point, right? Like every one of their friends or family are all seeing that or whatever, and you didn't necessarily understand the gravity of that. But yeah, like to especially nowadays, like, yeah, you're not messing around with religious liberties and freedoms and all of that and trying to throw it in. It's just not a great look at all. Okay, so we had the fuck the Mormons chant, which even the state of
just some bad taste.
The governor of Oregon apologized.
What is she apologizing for? She's not running for anything.
No, but I mean it's an optics play.
For what? She can't run anymore, right?
Correct.
She doesn't need to look
being
good.
A good human.
Okay.
So, let's see. I facilitated some business between Riley and the guy sitting in front of us at the game. Both somehow work in sport court installation. So, we'll see how that goes. Go me.
You should be proud of yourself. I'm sure they're gonna.
You should have had this in writing.
Going to garner so many millions of dollars of business.
Yeah. But the one thing that I'm not necessarily proud of myself for was, and again, I had to write notes throughout the game because I knew I was going to forget stuff. Braxton was making fun of me, but I'm like, I'm really glad that I at least took notes on the interaction that I had. I went down to get beer for the group. And as I'm standing in line, there are these two college guys, and they are talking about the weekend, talking about the night prior. And they go, oh, yeah, hey, Nick was sleeping naked again.
Okay.
And so what I did was I just took his sheets and I threw them down the hallway. And then he was just left there sleeping naked all by himself just in the middle of the living room.
I'm afraid of where this is going.
Right, and so I'm very much not a part of this conversation, but I'm very much listening to it. And as they're engaged in this naked Nick story, I kind of just like turn to him and I go, that's just classic Nick, am I right?
That's what you hit him with? What response did you get from that?
The look of horror is what I got.
Did they look at you like an old guy making a dad joke?
Yeah, classic Nick, right?
And nothing.
Nothing.
You got crickets?
I got nothing. And then luckily, I'm pretty sure Riley showed up, and I was like, hey, Riley, thank God that you are here.
That's hilarious.
Classic Nick.
Wow.
The funny thing is in the notes he just had in all caps, classic Nick. And I kept on saying that all night. Classic Nick. Classic Nick. Because that's the only thing I knew about that story until now.
I'm glad that I had written down the notes about that because there are a few more here. because I would have forgotten what the Classic Nick was all about. And it's Classic Naked Nick, if you listen to us. Roll up to the pod anytime.
Yeah.
You naked ass.
I mean, we want to know more.
Yeah, we should have exchanged.
Absolutely.
I'd be like, here's my
Do
card.
we
Come
want
on
to
the
know more?
podcast.
No, not really.
Classic Nick. So,
But I will say, overall, I had a great time. Tailgate turned out great. Game was fun. What a big win. They were dominant.
dominant win for the Dutch.
Absolutely dominant.
And you went to the Oregon State game.
Mitch
in
and I went to
Portland.
the
That's
Beavs game.
Pretty fun.
Yeah,
it's actually,
how was that?
It's pretty cool to go to. I've never seen a football game at Providence Park. There's not a bad seat.
Yeah.
I mean, we did sit in the old section with the obstructed view, but I mean, we were at the very top, and it's still like, like the mid-level of Reeser.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. The turnout for Oregon State was huge.
I bet.
I mean, driving there would have been a nightmare. We're both smart enough to not drive. I mean, they blocked off a bunch of the streets for tailgaters, a lot of alumni. It's kind of a mess getting in there. Concessions took about an hour.
Yeah, you apparently had a vegan dog just to see what it was all about.
Yeah, it was I mean, Mitch and I stood. We didn't think that anyone else, would think like us. We're like, 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Let's go down there, so we can
Get ahead of
we
them.
can beat the crowd.
It's literally the exact thought that everyone had.
We get down there and we're like,
You gotta-
fuck.
You got to wait 10 minutes into the third. That's the key.
I jokingly said we'll make it back for the start of the third. We left with 5 minutes left at first half. We came back, I think, with about 6 or 7 minutes left in the third quarter.
Jeez.
And
At
in
least you made it back by the fourth.
in that time we were standing, both of our orders changed maybe 7 or 8 times. And we got to the front, and Mitch goes, I feel like with your stance against vegans and vegetarians, at some point someone's going to try and fool you with like an Impossible Burger
So
or
you
something.
gotta know what it's like.
So we're like, well, let's beat those people to that, and let's get a vegan dog and both try it.
We'll show them.
And so naturally, we got 4 beers and 7 hot dogs, 6 regular ones, 3 each, and 1 vegan dog to share. It was the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth.
Put a lot of things in your mouth.
Yeah, you have.
Imagine biting into a dog that's the casing doesn't snap, and your teeth has to pull the paste of the meat out of the casing with absolutely zero flavor.
So would it be like Play-Doh without the salt? Or no?
I think Play-Doh tastes better.
All right.
I've eaten Play-Doh.
Yeah.
I know,
It
we were
tastes like
there.
salt. That's also true.
I think Play-Doh has a little bit more. Oh, yeah, there is. I don't know. It has the consistency of like chorizo, when you mix
Sure.
chorizo,
All right.
but it becomes more pasty. And the casing was like unusually thick. It almost seems like it was a Ziploc bag versus like a casing for a hot dog.
I'll be the first to tell you that Ziplocs do work as a casing.
For dry humping.
Well,
No,
that
for
was
full
that
on.
was actual sex.
Oh,
but-
yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Good times. So,
and I think we're all three gonna go down for the Oregon State game.
Yeah.
This coming weekend against USC.
do a
Yep.
little tailgating
We're
there.
gonna do some tailgating
We'll
for
film
that as
it.
well.
We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay, so you are saying don't eat vegan hot dogs.
Yeah.
Float your boat. The Food and Drug Administration is weighing in on something else that you should not be eating.
Don't say Snicker bars.
No. The next...
That's the last thing I need.
This week has been dark.
It's been a real dark week. No, the next Tide Pod conspiracy
Oh God.
trend has hit the Twitters and the TikToks.
What's the matter with these children?
Here's a news clip.
The children.
This story. The Food and Drug Administration issued a warning they probably never thought they'd need to make. Don't cook chicken in NyQuil. A new social media challenge encourages people to cook their poultry in NyQuil and other over-the-counter cough products. The FDA warns boiling medication can change its properties and make it more concentrated. Just breathing it can damage your lungs.
So
No fucking shit.
there is, some would say no fucking shit on eating Tide Pods, but people ate plenty of those. There was a viral TikTok that went across social media that shows a man, and I don't know if you guys can see this at all. Miguel, can you kind of see this?
Just say yes.
Yeah.
A man has a skillet, and he has 2 chicken breasts and a NyQuil bottle.
I've done this in the past, and usually I use about, 4/3 of the bottle. And if it's your first time doing this, you can get away with using about 1/5. Season that NyQuil in there just at the right temperature.
It doesn't even look appetizing.
It's blue.
About, 5 to 30 minutes. Make sure you're constantly flipping over the chicken. You don't want to give one side more attention.
Tell me how to cook a fucking chicken.
Sometimes the steam really makes you sleepy. Woo. Oh, fuck.
Okay.
You're looking for is that blue color right there. All right, then you can go ahead and turn it off. Ooh, yeah, that's steam, baby. Drain the unused right back into the NyQuil can, just like so. And boom, NyQuil
After
chicken.
the chicken NyQuil juice, he puts it back in the bottle?
Sure did. So, that's the new trend. The new Tide Pod trend is now NyQuil chicken. We will not be submitting that as a punishment, by the way.
I really don't like this,
limit.
What about
doing anything for likes? I just
cooked chicken mixed with uncooked NyQuil.
What would the point of that be?
Sleepy chicken.
All right. Well, you sound intrigued. Do you eat Tide Pods too?
No, no. But I will say that I have heard of an invention. Shout out Henry Lockwood. Of Listerquil.
A Listerine and NyQuil type of
yes.
And he's drinking both of them?
Well, yeah.
Because Listerine's got alcohol in
exactly.
it.
So you freshen the breath, take some of that cough medicine.
Which has acetaminophen, diphenhydramine, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Take a little bit of that bite off the cough medicine with the mintiness.
Oh, my God.
Freshen the breath before bed. And get the NyQuil going so you don't wake up with a sore throat.
No, I'm not going to make this sound like this.
And you hit your protein. Oh, sorry. We're just not talking about the sleepy chicken anymore.
No sleepy chicken.
All right. Get your macros.
I'm not on board with any of these.
All right.
I don't like it.
So you guys are not on board with any of that. Are you on board? There is this new band group. I don't know what they are.
My Chemical Romance?
They are...
I know what they are.
Oh.
They are this group of old men called the Northern Boys. And they might be hard to discern, but I want to play you the video that has gone viral for them.
Glue gun paste on my face is plastic. Having a gang back to Jackson 5. Right. I'm a ratchet guy. Lost my wife when I packed goodbye. No, don't talk to me unless it's an emergency. I gotta take a number 3. That's a piss and a shit and a wank in a tree.
I said, hello there, can I fill your hole? She took one look and she told me no. I got a wife at home and she hates me. I sleep outside cause she makes me. Big bowl of the cocaine, that's me breakfast. I tried crack once, I just wanted to test it and I'm hooked now. I could marry my pipe. My wife wouldn't care, she just wants me to die.
So he says,
a piss and a shit and a wank in a tree.
And a wank in a tree is quite the line.
I totally forgot what you were asking about the group. I just enjoyed that 30-second clip.
That was a sick.
I mean, I did enough karate moves for a workout. I'm sweating.
Yeah. I sniff glue gun paste. Check. Now my face is plastic. I gotta go. I gotta take a number 3. That's a piss and a shit and a wank in a tree. Big bowl of cocaine.
You sound
That's
like
my
Gilbert
breakfast.
Godfrey.
Why are we doing?
Why
are we doing a reading?
Yeah.
Of this song.
You're like the guy reading the 50 Shades of Grey. Like, these are not meant to be read.
Well, I am.
Especially not by you.
It's like Christopher Walken trying to read
a piss and a wank and a
if
shit.
I could fill her hole.
And she said no.
Oh, my God, Pete. Just keep the dance part in, okay?
Yeah, that took me back. That took me back to story time of that Christmas party. That was like I'm fucking falling asleep.
No one enjoyed that.
Didn't he read like 3 pages from Coach O's like autobiography
on this podcast that I had to cut out, which will never make it on air? So, thought it was great.
I mean, if you like reading out loud, just do that.
Just do an audible
don't
podcast.
punish us.
That's why you have children.
Yeah, read to Brody.
Hey, Brody.
Read the entire coach
I gotta
show.
go. I gotta take a number 3. That's a piss and a shit.
Oh,
and a wank in a tree.
I mean, it rhymes. Kids love that shit.
So the Northern Boys, check them out online. They
Yeah.
have a number of other songs, which I will apparently not recite for you.
Oh God!
Are they American?
A theatrical reading.
No, Northern.
Of the
They're like
Northern
Irish.
What were you? What country?
I was gonna
were
say
you-
they're from Ireland and Irish, but they're Irish.
They're Irish. They're Billy's
They're
brothers.
Irish.
Billy Irish.
They're Irish.
Jesus
Exactly.
Christ. Oh
Thanks,
man.
Boneyard, for that one. Well, boys, should we get to R.J. James, the Wolf of Walsh Street?
Yeah.
Joins us once again. Here's our conversation with Walsh.
Wolf. Walsh, remember last season?
Yeah.
When after you came and you were a guest for the first time last season, you went on a winning streak.
Did I?
That's the whole point of tonight.
Dude, last year was, yeah, I mean, it was just a year I wasn't really as focused. I went through some shit, and was probably spending more time, like I texted you or messaged you on the dating apps than I was, focusing on
Hey,
games.
which dating apps though?
Which, by the way, those can, like, when you first get on them, you can just get lost,
Yeah.
It's
a dangerous place.
Bumble and Tinder and
Bumble's the worst.
Hinge.
Hinge. Hinge is the main. Yeah, Hinge. I meant Hinge, not Tinder. I did try Tinder for a little bit because my girlfriend Tiffany put me on, but it was more like 20 somethings. So
Did you ever try Farmers Only?
Christian Mingle.
No, never
Coffee
tried
Meets
those.
Bagel.
But the problem is like you get on them, then there's the messaging and all the, they want to message a lot, but I kind of worked my way through, but that took up a lot of time, dude. So where I was usually focused in and, looking at games a lot more, I just wasn't, and not to say that's the reason I lost so much, but it just was, it was not, I wasn't as productive because.
Well, what changed this year? Do you got a gal now, or have you?
No,
on
I just don't spend that much time on it anymore because I kind of learned that you don't get into the freaking back and forth gossiping. It's just let's meet and hang out or not. But I was kind of newly single last year because I got divorced.
Smash or dash, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, dude.
Hey, I know Peter's gonna bleep this, but here's what I think you realize: money over bitches.
and the love of the game always wins.
Dude, I lost my focus. That's all I can say. I totally lost my focus, but I'm back. And
exactly.
I won last week, and then I rushed out because I love the over in Minnesota Philly at 36 brought down, and there was 31 at halftime. I don't think I've ever bet since I've been betting. I've never seen 31 points at halftime and then not have 0 points the second half. That was unbelievable.
Would you say that some of your teasers? Would you say that your fandom for the Vikings, could get in the way, like your emotional attachment to the Vikings could get in the way of gambling?
Yeah, dude. Look, I mean, they lost my teaser week 1, and then they cost me last night. But again, I look back at last night's game, and Philly could have easily. I mean, against that bad Minnesota D, Philly should have scored another touchdown. But yeah, Minnesota. It's a tricky place. It's a tricky thing for me because I'm such a big fan and that I want them to do well. And this year I really thought they would. I mean, I put a huge future bet on them to have a winning record. So
that's a lot of money to put on Kirk Cousins. He's not good on prime time.
Dude, did you see after week 1 that some people were picking him to be like a dark horse MVP, and now they're completely bashing him again. So
Mr. Kirky.
Well, thank God we have 16 more weeks to go.
We do. we have 16 weeks, and I think it's going to be. I think you kind of figure out the teams, especially after 2 weeks of seeing them, and I think teams like Denver, I think they're not as good as people think, right? So they've really struggled, although they keep getting love from Vegas, with the lines. I think they're -1 against San Francisco on Sunday night this coming week. So I think the Niners are just a much better team. I don't think Russell Wilson is what he used to be. And I think
Russell Wilson is such a boob.
Yeah, and I think Hackett's a bad play caller, dude.
Like, I mean, like you see that video that went viral of him going, yeah, you see that video that went viral of him going, yeah, run or pass. He's trying to get the sidelines of an NFL team to yell run or pass. Meanwhile, like by the time anyone yells anything, the ball's already out. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Dude, I can't stand him. He's always bothered me. I think he's just too much. Everything about him is too much. And I think Seattle was it was a good move to let him leave. You know,
the guy is a cosplay of what he thinks an NFL quarterback should be. Like nothing that he does seems genuine. Everything is incredibly scripted. It's all it's all very like timed out or whatever. Premeditated. Thank you.
Think that's your same opinion of Tom Brady? You think he's worse than Tom Brady when it comes to that?
Well, it's catching up with Tom Brady. So
yeah, and Tom Brady just is a lot better at it, to be honest. I think that they are similar in that sense.
He's growing a little tired these days. You've seen those that viral photo of him just looking like blood has been sucked out of his.
Who's got a hotter wife?
I think Russ wins.
Dude, Tom Brady looks like he's had some work done because his cheekbones are like up by his ears.
He does look different.
Oh, he looks like an alien, dude. He looks. If you go back and look at his picture from his first through fifth year, he looks, dude, his bone structure is totally different. But I mean, that's what happens when people become super elite, dude. Like, who knows what he's doing? He could be flying to Germany with Giselle and doing some weird ass, like, you know.
I don't think he's taking a TB12 creatine.
Yeah, like
okay. So tell me this, Walsh, and when it comes to analyzing what's going on the field, how much stock are you putting into what's going on off the field with Tom Brady and Giselle and all the rumors about them being away from each other? But that doesn't really surprise me, considering that like he has kids in school and all this stuff. However, reports being that there is a little bit of trouble in the Brady household nonetheless. And he's already thrown his tablet around. He's he's sparking fights that are getting his teammates suspended.
Yeah, I mean, look, I haven't bet the Bucs yet because I just think there's the Bucs are winning because of their defense right now, right? I mean, it's not because of Tom Brady and the offense. And they've got weapons when everyone's healthy. But I just think he's made some comments, even on his podcast that you could just tell he's got like 1 foot in, 1 foot out right now. And it's probably due to his family and due to whatever else he's got going on. But I do not love Tampa Bay for that reason. But they're always going to compete because I do think they have the best defense in the league. But they're not going to be putting up those gaudy numbers. Like, you look at so they play the Packers this coming Sunday. Don't expect a shootout. That's going to be low scoring.
Sure.
It's going to be a lot of Fournette. I think Mike Evans is suspended.
He is. He appealed it. I don't know if we've heard on the appeal yet.
Oh, did he appeal it? Okay.
He did appeal it.
I thought that was strange that he got suspended, but not Lattimore. So,
especially because Lattimore had some extracurriculars even the week before, which I'm sure that they're going to like put in as Exhibit A as to like why he shouldn't be suspended, but we'll see.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, you got Green Bay that, let's be honest, the Packers are a running football team now, If they want to win games, it's got to be Aaron Jones, it's got to be A.J. Dillon, and it's got to be working play action off that. The days of Aaron Rodgers just dropping back in the gun and slinging it all over, they're not going to happen. I mean,
who's his best receiver? Sammy Watkins?
Dude, that's pathetic that Watkins. Yeah, I mean, Lazard's their best receiver, but he's a possession guy. They've got that Watson kid who dropped the touchdown against Minnesota on the first play, who's fast, but he's young. I mean, those guys are still learning the offense. And really, Green Bay showed against Chicago that the way they're going to win games is pound the football. I mean, and then let Rodgers run some play action off it. So I expect a really low scoring game. I don't like doing unders and teasers like ever, but I'll probably take that to 54.5 and play the under, just assuming it's going to be kind of a slow game.
So talking about your teasers, what's your record stand at for this season? Is that
so
1 and 2?
1 and 2. 1 and 2. So I came back 1 week 2, and then I posted and I was like, okay, let's start a new one with Minnesota over. And which is funny because I looked at the Buffalo Tennessee game and I was like, God, I can bring that to 35.5, and I went away. And that's where I think the Viking, I was like, all right.
Viking you,
the Vikings in me, I'm like, okay, let's have it. But again, I don't regret the pick at all. I really believe if they played 10 times, it goes over. If they played 9 more times, I think it goes over 36 9 times. Just because.
Are you off the Vikes now for the tease?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's just that they're one of those teams that even with all of their talent, and let's face it, they've got a ton of talent, right? They do. Like not being biased, but they're loaded on offense. I just think that they can't be trusted, right? Like Kirk Cousins is way too inconsistent. I mean, some weeks he looks good against he looked good against Green Bay, right? They have a good defense, but he's just not one of those quarterbacks that you can count on to come and, I mean, dude, he was awful yesterday. He could have thrown 5 picks. I think they dropped a couple. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm off the Vikings and the tees.
Well, and especially, I mean, I don't think they're playing on Monday night again.
No.
But I mean, he is notoriously bad. Kirk is on Mondays, 2-10 now. He was 0-9 to start. He won 2, and now he's back to his losing ways.
And isn't he bad on Sunday night? I mean, isn't it pretty much every primetime game?
Every primetime, he doesn't seem to do well.
Right.
Yeah.
Every one of them. No
So, yeah.
primetime Kirky.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I like my future bet. I do think they end up 9-8 at least. I think they'll probably get to 10 wins. They could win the division. I think it's going to be tight between them and Green Bay.
Is there really 19 weeks in the NFL? 19 betting weeks?
18. Yeah,
so if we
17 games, 18 betting weeks.
So we've had 2.
Correct.
So it's 16. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to go back to this one thing because, like, Walsh, if you go 50, 500 or, on your bets, you break even more or less. Kirk Cousins goes 500 as a quarterback, and he's made $201 million. So just food for thought there.
That's not necessarily true though, because the way you adjust the teaser, you are expecting yourself to be like 75%, right?
Yeah, it's -140. It's -140. So you've got to basically win. Yeah, you've got to win. If you're doing 5 teasers, right, you want to be hitting 3 of the 5 for sure. And that's just to like barely make a little money. So, but the way I see it, and the way I've always seen it, is that when you can manipulate lines by that much in doing a 4 spot, I've always had pretty good success with it. Last year was not good. But I think this year I'll be right around 75%, if not higher. So
are you going to go on a 16-0 run?
We're 2 weeks in. We're 2 weeks in. We'll see what happens. It's just about picking the right games, the right matchups. I do really like a lot of points. I think that's the way to really win, is when you can take a game, look at Miami and Buffalo, right? Like you can take that down to 39.5, I think was the number. And, no weather there. You have a high flying offense in Miami and the Bills. That's a game that should definitely hit 40 points. I love the Niners getting points at Denver. I think you can give them 11.5. I think they're the better football team. And I like the under in Tampa Bay. And I think there's a lot of good matchups just to kind of go through and find. I'm not betting the Vikings-Lions game. No chance in hell.
Yeah.
Watch the Lions go in and beat them in a minute. That would be such a Vikings move.
Are you typically just doing one monster teaser a week? Like, so the one that you placed last night. So I assume you're going to do another one for week 3.
So the one I did last night. So I did the big one for week 2. Then I kind of it was like half the amount I usually do.
So we're not really counting the one from last night.
No, it counts. It counts. I mean, I posted it.
Counts a record, but
I had people bet it. But I did minimal amount compared to what I usually do. And I don't know if part of that was because the Vikings were on it, but I also kind of figured I just hit week 2. Let's not push it too much, so let's just, I did like it though. And then I get
so you're going to be doing mostly one monster a week. And then there's going to be like last night where you might throw in one, a couple weeks or something.
Yeah. It's kind of like just to say, hey, here's, let's start it with Monday night, or let's do it with this. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I did that the 2 years ago. Or actually it was 3 years ago, bleeding into 2 years ago when I won 21 straight. I was doing some where I would be like, hey, let's play the Monday night game, and let's lead it into next week. So I never usually bet those as heavy though.
Walsh, I don't want to bash on your boy, but Is there any chance you're distracted by shotgun? I mean, I don't know if he listens to this, but I'm not.
Is there negative influence that you're implying?
I mean,
here,
I'm
Miguel?
just saying, Walsh, you were 21-0 leading up to when you started the podcast with him, and it was a little rocky last season.
It was
He
rocky.
was involved.
Dude, you know, I think last year, yeah, there was some influence. There was some let's take some heavy favorites on the road down to a pick'em type influence, and which is usually nothing I would do. I usually stay away from that. And yeah, to answer your question, I would say yes, for sure.
I appreciate.
And I know Mark thinks the same shit. So
this is not coming from Mark Henry. This is from me.
Okay.
I want to keep as much as I'm annoyed by him. I got to keep him protected.
Yeah, no, I would say, yeah, that's a fair assessment, dude. It was.
What's his success rate with a shotgun tease?
I don't know. I mean, he didn't.
I noticed you didn't post it last week.
Well, I took it off.
There we go. There we go.
Well, at least you're making better choices now.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a friend of mine. I do respect his sports knowledge, like, you know.
I know, that's why I said I don't want to bash on your friend, but I do listen to the podcast, Walsh, and I want to hear you, and I feel like it's the shotgun
it's
podcast.
a lot of shotgun. Yeah, it is.
I mean, I barely hear you in it.
Yeah, that's true. It's a lot of shotgun, and the reason I started it was going to be like 15 minutes. I was just going to go over the games I like, why I like them, and just give picks. Then Ryan, you know, kind of came on. We're lifelong friends, started doing it with me. I think his football knowledge, like as far as talking about the teams and whatnot, I think is pretty solid. But I think what people want to hear in general is when you're doing a sports betting podcast, they want to hear more about like, hey, let's get to the reason why, you know, and let's hear the picks. They don't want to hear so much, I think, like the power rankings and, you know, that's almost like a whole totally different show, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not like we know what the fuck we're doing. I'm not here to give you advice or ruin your relationship with shotgun, but
no, yeah, I hear you.
Like your podcast is I want to hear your insight with your teasers.
Right.
And you know, there was 45 minutes of them covering what Stephen A. Smith covered the morning before.
Yeah.
Walsh. And the good thing, Walsh, is we never negatively influence each other when it comes to betting. So we're definitely the authority on this topic.
Yeah. And just think about how much you've been able to talk on this. You know, we could fold you in. You know,
yeah. Whenever you want to,
maybe every
15-minute segment to
Walsh,
to
just
IJMS.
fucking be here
Just
live.
be on us
Look at all
every
this
week.
beer. We got
Yeah.
liquor, we got beer, we got video. We'll add a chair.
Yeah. We'll bring you in. It'll be the It Just Makes Sense in Walsh podcast.
Yeah, no, dude, I'd love to come over and hang out. And, you know, like I really believe the part of the reason I do this is just for fun. I love sports, but I've had runs where I put together a lot of winners. I mean, I've gone on trips with friends to Vegas many years, Reno. I don't think I've maybe once or twice in Vegas I've ever come back like down where a lot of people lose money. I mean, Mark can tell you, I've never gone to Reno with him. I'm like ever since we've been going. I've never left down. I've always been up like pretty good amount. So I just think when I'm like, I think I have a decent ability to see matchups, to learn about teams, and then kind of like try to put the odds in my favor. You know, that's what I think I'm good
Focus
at.
is back starting week 3.
Hey, the focus is back. And, you know, like I said,
I do want to share this with you guys. Walsh did message me and said how quickly Slappy forgets about all my winnings in the past. He can blow me. Tell him that. So I was like, he'll tell you, I messaged him back. I was like, right away. And I walked over to Slappy and I was like, hey, Walsh said you can blow him. You're disloyal bitch. And he said, tell him it's a today business. Dirty Benchcraft. Tell him it's a today business.
We're out here just ruining relationships and friendships.
No,
left
really,
and
my
right.
goal is to slowly take Slappy out of my life and bring you in.
Slappy. I'll tell you what, Mark is a emotional guy, right? He's what I respect about him is he is willing to push his chips in, but you can't bitch when you lose. You know, it's like if you go on a ride and you win a lot, and then there's downtimes, like, look, don't bitch, just either stop or reload, So he gets a little emotional, he gets a little hard. Last year he was a little bit pissed because there was times I would make some bets and not like let him know like with substantial time before kickoff. So
yeah, he wanted the special text message before the post, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, no one takes longer to pay a bet than he does, but when he wins, he will stop by your desk every 5 minutes.
Are you serious?
And say, "Where's my money?"
That's so funny, dude. So it's interesting. One more game I want to touch on. Well, I touched on the Bills Dolphins, right? Being over. I also like Kansas City, Indianapolis. Now, let's all be honest. The Colts have been horrible, right?
Jesus, yeah.
I mean, how bad were the Colts last week? 24-0 to Jacksonville, but they host the Chiefs. You can take that down to 36.5. I think you're going to see a much better. I think Indy's, dude, watch out for Indy in that game. I think they're a huge sleeper. I think
Pittman back.
Yeah, the only problem would be the wide receiver.
Pittman, I think, is coming back. I think Pittman's coming back. You get Jonathan Taylor rolling. They're going to play better at home. I still don't believe that Kansas City is the best. I mean, I know people are like, oh, the Chiefs and the Bills, the Chiefs and the Bills. Okay. Kansas City, in my opinion, should have lost to San Diego, right? Like if Herbert doesn't throw the 99-yard pick six, then that's a totally different game. And I do think Tyreek Hill not being there is a big deal. So we'll see. I think right now the Bills are head and shoulders above everyone else in the AFC. And then I think like the Chargers will be there. And I think Kansas City is going to, they'll be there in the end, but they're not as good as everybody thinks. And I think you'll see that against the Colts.
Do you think you make a big deal about the Ravens blowing that lead?
Yeah, that was horrible, dude. I mean, the Ravens had that game won. And then, dude, I know you're a Browns fan. That was brutal.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, that was incredible. And then you have the Raiders, right? They're sitting at 0-2, really competitive team. That game was over. And they should have beaten the Cardinals, and they let the Cardinals go down and get 2 touchdowns with 2 2-point conversions. And then Hunter Renfrow, the most sure-handed guy in the NFL, fumbles, right? And then they pick it up and take it to the house. So just a brutal, honestly, if you're playing money line parlays or if you like to do that, guaranteed one of those teams were on your parlay, and
yeah.
a lot of people
same
lost.
with the Bengals, right? With
exactly,
Cooper Rush as the quarterback and everything. I remember I put in 2 different money line bets on the Bengals in that game, only to see both of them go.
I took the Cowboys in a survivor pool to lose. I was so sure about that.
It's a dangerous one.
So if I heard correctly, you're thinking Tampa Bay Green Bay under. You're thinking Bills, Miami over. You're thinking of teasing the points for Indy. Is that right?
Yep, the Indy over, and then
so you're taking the over with Indy as well.
Yeah, so Indy 36.5 over, so just over in that game.
Okay.
But I was saying, like, if you want to play something like just as a straight, and you want to have great odds, look at the Colts at plus 225. I'm serious.
Okay.
Like, if you just want to sprinkle in a little money line, you like good odds, look at the Colts, or just take them, or take the 6.5 with them at home. I just think it's going to be a really close game. And
what's the fourth you're looking at for the teaser?
The Niners plus 11.5. Yep, Niners plus 11.5. And I get a lot of people messaging me because a lot of it, look, a lot of people who like to gamble on sports, they don't just want to do the teaser. They want to do, hey, what's the one upset you like this week? Outright. Like, what's the money line play of the week? Well, I always tell people when I message them, I'm like, look, that's not really the way I bet, but if you want to, if you want good value, here's a game I would take. It's just because people are impatient, dude. Sports bettors in general, this is why they lose a lot, is they just constantly want to keep betting individual games. And you can lose your ass doing that, dude. It's
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's
never happened to me, that's for
Never.
sure.
Nope, didn't happen to me with the Colts in the first 2 weeks either.
So my follow-up question is, I think some of these teams that you're talking about that people want to see these one-off bets where we can see maybe a bigger profit. I would consider a couple of those teams that I'm a little surprised at how bad they've done. Like, for instance, the Colts, the Falcons. Are any of these teams that are kind of more on the plus money end and, looking not as good in these first 2 games of the season, is there anybody you see rebounding or maybe having kind of a second burst of energy to maybe make a run towards the playoffs, or at least make a bang towards the end of the season?
Yeah, I think a team like Carolina, I think they're better than 0-2, right? I think Carolina is they're a competitive team. I think the Giants are a lot better than people think at 2-0. I mean, they've got a good team. Watch the Giants pound Dallas on Monday night. They're going to take Dallas apart on Monday night. I like that too, but I might play that into something else the following week. But I think Dallas is fraudulent. I think Atlanta Falcons are really competitive. They could be 2-0. But Carolina really is the one team to me that sticks out. And I think Indy, here's the thing with Indy. What's up with the defense? Everyone's touting their defense, like, oh, Buckner, DeForest Buckner. Oh, they've got Leonard at linebacker. They've got these good DBs. They got Stephon Gilmore, right, from who's a good corner. But they can't stop anyone. The Jags just ran roughshod through them. They're soft. They never play well on the road. And it's pathetic. I mean, Matt Ryan to me is kind of like Kirk Cousins, right? It's like you never know who you're going to get. Neither one of them have a great arm, and if you put heat on them, they crumble. So it's pathetic because they're wasting Jonathan Taylor's prime, and that guy's such a beast. I mean, you should be able to run, and and their offensive line's not terrible. So Matt Ryan should be able to just live off play action with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, So they're a team that's just I can't put my finger on it, but they should be much better than they are.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I
so
thought
we'll
their
see.
defense was going to be a lot more prominent. I was a little unsure about Matt Ryan just because that degradation, we kind of saw signs of it last year. But I thought that defense was going to be stellar, and it definitely didn't hold up.
Walsh, do you tend to stay away from teams like that when it comes to betting? Like, at least for the teaser, do you tend to stay away from teams where, like, you can't put your finger on it, like what's wrong with them? Or does that not stop you?
I wrote off Indy as far as being any part of a straight line teaser, like with them and the spread after they lost it at Jacksonville last year when they needed to win to go to the playoffs. I put a big teaser down and I was 3 of 3 and I just needed the Colts. I think it was the Colts just to win the game outright to go to the playoffs, and they got absolutely destroyed. I mean, it was embarrassing. I said, I'm done with this team. When a team bites me in like a couple times, I usually just unload them off of, I don't find them playable. Steelers Browns this coming Thursday, I don't find that to be a playable game at all, just because who knows what's going to happen. I mean, I hope your Browns win. They should. Your Browns should win that game.
They should have won last week too.
Yeah.
But
A lot of things should happen to the Browns that don't happen.
You should have just a 0.1% chance of losing, and you lose.
Do you feel okay about a 7-point early win bet on the Steelers?
Do you think that the Steelers can take a 7-point lead?
That's the DraftKings special. It pays out as soon as they're up 7.
Oh, really? It's possible. I don't like Trubisky at all. I don't have any confidence that he can score.
When is Kenny Pickett coming in? Like at what week is he coming in? Because like there's the stubbornness of Tomlin, but then there's like the fan pressure of to get Pickett in.
Look, let's be honest, okay? We all saw what Trubisky did in Chicago. He's an athletic quarterback. He can make some plays with his legs, but he is not accurate when he sits in the pocket. He's one of those weird, like he can make some throws and you're like, wow, that looked nice. Then he'll step back and do the same throw where he's got time and he'll throw it right to the defense. It's like, he's just, you got to put Pickett in and let him. Look, the Steelers aren't going to go anywhere. We all know it. Even if they get Watt back and they get Najee Harris healthy, they're not that good. They're not beating Baltimore in that division. So let the kid play. The fans love him. They want to see him. He'll create some energy. So I think the Steelers are a bad football team, personally, right now.
I mean, like, what's the point of rolling Trubisky out there if you see Kenny Pickett as your quarterback of the future?
Exactly.
The Bears are doing it with Justin Fields right now. The 49ers were going to do it with Trey Lance before he gets hurt. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what are you looking to get just like shivved in the lung again, like that happened to Tyrod Taylor, in order to get,
That's
get
an Oregon setup. Let's be clear. Okay.
I mean, honestly, like, what's the point?
Yeah, you got to put the kid in, and Trubisky is a decent, serviceable backup, right? Like that's what he is in the NFL. So, it was Tomlin's a conservative coach, right? He thinks I'm going to play a guy who's got NFL experience, who's started many games, but that's not right at this point right now. He just needs to roll the kid out, and they just need to go with
right. And it's not as if too like you're coming into a quarterback room, you're like, oh, I just want him to learn from all the greats in my quarterback room right now.
Exactly.
I mean, like, what do you got?
Pickett does wear 2 gloves, which
two glove
Pickett guys have never won Super Bowls. Same with long hair guys.
It's not about it's not about whether or not he's going to be good, because I don't think he's going to be good. It's about, you picked him in the first round.
Are we sure long-haired Tom Brady didn't win a Super Bowl that year?
He didn't.
Okay.
He didn't. But I do want to, because you were kind of going into it here before we got into the Steelers. Who else do you like this weekend, or who else are you totally avoiding?
Okay, so I like the Patriots. I'm actually a big supporter of New England on wagering this year. I mean, I liked them this past weekend at Pitt. Now, granted, it was a closer game than I thought, but they were really in control the whole time. I think you're going to see the Patriots kind of start to round into form the more as the season progresses, because I think Belichick is going to scheme a good defense. They've still got some good players on that side of the ball. I really like Mac Jones. I am a huge Mac Jones fan. I think he's a smart quarterback. I think, once he gets more comfortable with the guys on offense, look out for the Pats against the Ravens. That's in New England. I do not think that's an easy game at all. I know most people will be like, oh, I'll take Baltimore money line. I wouldn't do it. That's a game that scares me.
One thing about the Patriots that just kind of scares me is just the fact that you have Matt Patricia calling the plays, and then you have Joe Judge, who is now your quarterback's coach.
Yeah, that's
a little alarming on that side. So I mean, gosh, you have faith in Bill Belichick, but do you have?
You think the
that's
Pats,
my reservation?
You think the Pats control that and be a low-scoring game?
I think the Pats are going to take the air out of the ball. They're going to pound those 2 running backs that they have.
They've done it before, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Taking the air out of the ball.
I like Harris, and then I forget the other kid's name, but he's good too. And I think
Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, Stevenson. I think they're going to pound those 2, and kind of, and then Belichick knows how to do. He's just really, really good at scheming against quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson. He's going to confuse him. He's going to show blitz. He's going to drop back into some cover 2 shell. And Lamar's going to make mistakes. I just don't like I don't like the game. I don't trust the Ravens. Another, just scrolling down, I'd take Atlanta at Seattle. I think they can win that. And then, like I told you, I love the Giants. The Giants are probably my straight money line play of the week. They're going to beat Dallas, and they're going to beat them soundly. They're going to embarrass.
Is it in New York?
It's in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden they're 2-0. They've got the fans behind them. Saquon looks great. Danny Dimes is playing decent football, and the defense is better than people think. And I think Cooper Rush is going to be rattled, And so I don't know what.
Dabble's kind of a fun coach too.
Oh, Dabo's awesome. Hey, let's go for 2 week 1, to win the game. I like that.
Love that.
And the players respect that. So
absolutely.
I don't know what the hell's going on with Cincinnati. I mean,
I'm scared to put him in any more bets.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm touching Cincinnati again betting wise until like week 6.
Okay,
I think the water needs to settle there.
Unless they go and make a last minute emergency scouting trip to fucking Nebraska and Iowa and find some big boys to protect Joe Burrow. Yeah. I don't trust that he's not going to get hit 54 times every game.
They should have drafted Sewell. I don't know.
Yeah, but then you don't have Jamar. They did go to the Super Bowl with Jamar Chase. Okay.
Can't have them both, apparently.
What do you guys think of the Eagles? I mean, what did you think about
I fucking love the Eagles.
He loves them on fantasy. He loves them on betting. He loves them all.
I was big into the Eagles going into the season. I love Jalen Hurts.
I'm trying to. I think they're very good, and I love them. I think there's a viral tweet that's been going around that I think would be awesome to think about. But like America can't handle the infrastructure of a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl. Like, that would be so incredibly awesome to see, just those two fan bases going at each other.
Rabbit.
There unfortunately would probably be
straight shootout
deaths. But that I would love to see that, but I'm trying not to get blinded by the light with the Eagles. I know they're in an easy conference supposedly, but I think the Giants could probably give them problems. I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50. I think if they, again, I'm trying not to make any bold claims till week 6, because then you just look like a dumbass.
I think that if my Super Bowl prediction right now would be Buffalo. Now, Buffalo needs to get home field. You don't want to go into Kansas City again, or even into San Diego would be difficult. Although the LA, but the LA doesn't have great fans. But it's going to, in my opinion, you're still looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to come out of the NFC. I just think that defense is too good. I think they'll get home field advantage because their conference sucks. And I don't think the Eagles can win there. So, and certainly not any other wild card team from the NFC. The Vikings would get smoked. So I think you're going to see Brady. Brady's going to make one more run to the Super Bowl, but I don't think they could beat the Bills. So
that's nice to hear, because I don't have any confidence in that. I do have a future on the Bucs to win the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Oh, you took the Bucs to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, as part of a parlay.
Oh, okay.
We're one down. The Las Vegas Aces won the WNBA championship. I need the Bucs to win the Super Bowl, the Dodgers to win the World Series, and Paolo Banchero to win Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
It's the 4.
What a spray of bets.
Fucking spray. I care about women's sports.
Yeah. He's a Title IX better.
That's awesome, dude. I also saw, Miguel, that you were talking about doing some alternate spread, like big parlay.
God damn it. Titans plus 23. What? How you get sniped?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Titans plus 23 went 7 for 8.
And the last leg, yeah.
So just out of curiosity, so when you look at that game and you think Titans plus 23, are you thinking like Derrick Henry, they're going to pound them? But it's at Buffalo, right? Where tough crowd. Why not give Buffalo 3.5, or could you not?
So those were the last two. So Buffalo, Tennessee, and then Philly, Minnesota were the last 2 picks.
Okay.
And I was pretty confident in Philly plus 11, knowing that Kirky doesn't perform. Yeah. I was gonna go Buffalo and make sure, because I figured they were gonna win.
Yeah.
Until I saw a stat that they do not do well at home on Monday Night Football.
Okay.
And I figured, that doesn't mean they're gonna lose, but I don't think the Titans will get blown out by 23.
Well, and in fairness to you, the Titans have had a lot of success against Buffalo, I think, with Derrick Henry. So yeah, it's not a bad play. I think giving an NFL team 20 plus points is good. But at the same time, that environment, it's like Buffalo can start to get the ball rolling, and then all of a sudden 14 becomes 28 really fast, so
I'm gonna try that again because I want to see if it hits, but every single one of those legs were sitting up minus 600.
Yeah.
And just parlayed together with 8 legs, it was plus 208.
That's pretty good, dude.
And I actually ended up putting less money than what I had planned, and I'm glad I did, because I was gonna put 100 or 200 on that. I ended up putting 50.
Okay.
To win 150, I think, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
Tough.
That's what happens. Anything else before we let Walsh go? I know that we said we were. I don't know how long we committed.
When are you coming out, or Monster Teas week 3? Wednesday? Tomorrow?
Okay, yeah, I'll do tomorrow. The only possible thing I would replace there, if I do at all, would be moving the under, just because I told you guys I don't ever like doing unders. I just don't like rooting for them, but I possibly will switch out the under in the Tampa Bay game to the Giants plus 10.5 on Monday night, because I'm so confident in that game. So we'll see, but those are what I'm looking at. Yeah, I'll release it tomorrow, and then I'll probably just jump on and do a pod by myself for like 15 minutes and talk about why I like it. But I'm certainly happy to be back on here with you guys. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
I think you guys,
great, man. We look forward to the live show with you.
Yeah, exactly. And make sure to follow Walsh at Wolf of Walsh Street, STRT. We will link it out in our podcast, maybe even in our link tree. We've got a link tree now.
And
so
Walsh, we have our 100th episode coming up. It's going to be live at Jimmy's Sports Bar in Multnomah Village. You better be
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Nice. When will that be?
I think it's the week after Thanksgiving, but we're ironing out the details right now. We'll probably announce it in either next week's podcast or the podcast following.
It's like week 12, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Sweet, dude. I'll come. That'll be fun, man.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thanks for coming.
us.
See you, Walsh.
We'll see you.
All right.
All right, so tune in for Walsh's teaser. It is coming out later this week.
He kind of teased the teaser for us,
Teased the teaser, yeah. So of those lucky enough to make it through that whole conversation, get all of his picks. It's so tough because, did you end up betting this week? Because you had said you were maybe not going to bet, but I bet you did.
Yeah, I did throw a little bit of money on the I did the Browns and the over again. And, yeah.
That's called an addiction.
Well, I mean, it looked like a pretty safe bet with a minute and 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
So are Titans plus 23.
Yeah. It's amazing how they can just rip your heart out like that. But, I mean, I was talking to Jer about this, and it's like, obviously it's upsetting. You see that they have the AWS, the Amazon statistics that Cleveland had a 99.9% win probability, and they lost, obviously, by that 1 point. But I'm really not surprised. When other teams do that in the NFL, it's like people will say, oh, they pulled the Browns. We invented these kinds of fuck-ups. Of course we're going to perfect them. You do them so much, eventually you're going to be the greatest at fucking up out there. And boy, howdy, we're pretty damn good at it.
Yeah. We will talk a little bit more NFL, but I wanted to touch on two things in college.
Please do.
Number one, the firing of good old Herm Edwards. We've seen or heard of firing on tarmacs, but there is a viral video out there, which we will show on our YouTube here, of Herm walking up to the athletic director and to the president of ASU after their devastating upset loss, and I'm pretty sure he got fired on the field. It sure looked like it.
He got end zoned.
He got end zoned.
The body language of those two guys was not great. As I'm sure if you're watching on YouTube, you just saw the clip.
Yeah.
The old hands on the hip.
Yeah, a little pat on the back, and he goes, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Saw that one coming.
Kind of remind you of that scene in Remember the Titans where the two guys were coming to talk to Coach Yost. Mm-hmm. Did it give you that vibe?
It did.
And now that you say it,
the way they walked up, there's we took a poll. We took a strong poll. You're out of the Hall of Fame. Like that scene. That's what it reminded me of.
Yost. The 30-21, the loss there. As a attendee of Arizona State, I'm sure you're excited. Probably Chris Peterson or someone else coming along.
I did text you. I did text you Chris Peterson, but that was wishful thinking. Chris
Urban
Peterson.
Meyer.
I texted Peter and I said, "Welcome to ASU, Chris Peterson," and I immediately sent another text. I'm like, I meant Scott Frost. They're not getting Chris Peterson.
Exactly. Let's see. I think that I have early returns on.
I felt bad for Herm. Herm's a good guy. He just wasn't a good fit.
Yeah. No. I mean, you got to get a guy who's going to coach within the last decade as your coach.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think he's maybe outgrown the game, or maybe the game has outgrown
ASU him. Gets enough recruits from Texas, from California, and they have a great, powerhouse high school programs in Chandler and Gilbert, where Terrell Suggs came from, where Ty Thompson came from. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have that in your backyard. They need a coach like a Lincoln Riley or a Kyle Shanahan somebody young.
Yeah.
You know, like
and a little crazy.
Yeah, like
Herm was almost too crazy.
Out of the box type of guy. But like, who's the Rams coach?
Sean McVay.
Sean McVay.
Somewhere along, like those names that I mentioned, that's who needs to be
Cliff
at ASU.
Kingsburys
The
of
Cliff
the world.
Kingsburys
So
of
like
the world.
the hottest, youngest coaches available.
Yes.
One of those
not-
guys.
I mean, Jonathan Smith, who apparently is rumored to this ASU job.
Like a tier 2 of that. No, you're not going to get those guys. It's somebody in the next level.
A couple of other names thrown around. Brian Harsin from Auburn, Kalani Sitake, Jonathan Smith, Tom Herman, Troy Calhoun, Matt Entz, Sean Lewis, Bill O'Brien, Derek Mason, Alex Granch.
I like Jonathan Smith.
Granch is in the talks, huh?
Yeah,
I don't want Jonathan Smith to leave Oregon State.
I don't think he would. At this point, like, I mean, you're talking about like leaving an alma mater to go to a rival school. Who knows if you're going to be in the same conference in a couple of years, but it's nor here nor
Especially,
there.
I feel like that's like you can make Oregon State just as good, if not better, than you could ASU. I think that's kind of a lateral move.
It is a lateral move.
Yeah.
It's not moving up.
Yeah.
What's the point?
There's no point.
Just when you're going to get a new stadium at Oregon State, you're actually like seeing the fruits of your labors pay off as well. I don't. Just to start over again.
I mean, I love them covering against USC this weekend. I mean, what a game that would be to be in that city and have them beat USC, and they have a history of doing so.
They sure do. It's quite an interesting timing, or great timing by Oregon State to cut out half of their stadium.
And then get really good at
football. And then get good and like, at least tolerable enough to go,
yeah, I shouldn't say really good. I shouldn't say really
USC.
good.
There hasn't been that feeling in a long time.
There's a part of me that kind of wishes that it's going to take longer to finish that stadium because I'd like to see another game in Portland because Providence Park was an incredible atmosphere.
I would too. That would be fun.
But apparently, I mean, I think that's a one-off. I think the stadium will be done by next year, but Providence Park was a great experience. Like, I would love to see another game there.
Well, PSU plays there, and every once in a while they get a decent opponent. And their tickets are always cheap. So
PSU hasn't played there in a long time.
Do they not?
They
not
have their
anymore.
own field?
They're out at Hillsborough Stadium now.
Really? I did not know
they
that.
got kind of kicked out of there. That's why I was kind of surprised that Oregon State was allowed or whatever to play up there, that Merritt Paulson made an exception. Ever since they've really like redone everything, like Merritt Paulson's just like, I don't want football.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tickets have been very cheap, and they've been out at Hillsborough Stadium.
I was looking at them like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't even
Unless something drastically changed, like this year.
PSU probably wasn't pulling enough money, but I'll tell you, the money gouging from fucking Saturday there was insane.
Next level.
We walked past like 2 parking lots that were charging $40. $40 for stadium parking.
We pay $50.
Where your car has a night. I mean, these are not
not
tailgating spots.
Right, yeah.
These are small parking lots where there's a 90% chance your car will get sideswiped.
Yeah.
$40. Nah.
We will talk about this upcoming week slate of games a little bit later on, but I did want to bring back the fact that maybe they just should stop streaming. I'm not saying cancel it altogether, but maybe stop televising the Midnight Yell. The Midnight Yell is back again from this past week. There is another cringeworthy story brought to you by another guy. They have aired it once again. This was ahead of the Miami Hurricanes game. So what's his, cheerleader guy? It's a new guy. Is telling a story, a made-up story about the Hurricanes.
What is a Miami grad calling Aggie? Boss! A-O Army. Army. Got a little story for you, Ags. Well, one day, old Rock, the good egg, was taking his son, Little Rocky, on a college visit to the greatest university in the world, Texas A&M. And when they got here, they joined a tour. But on this tour was a worthless, good for nothing, hanky-panky, University of Miami Hurricane. And throughout the entire tour, that Hurricane kept talking about the good old Sunshine State. And even though he was annoyed at first, Old Rock managed to keep his cool. But after about 24 minutes of that Miami Hurricane trying to say how much better the Sunshine State was than Texas A&M, Old Rock couldn't take it anymore. And before that obnoxious Miami Hurricane could utter the words Sunshine State out of his mouth again, Old Rock kicked him in the rear and said, well, if you love your Sunshine State so much, then why don't you just go back? And then that Miami fan ran away and the entire tour group cheered. But on the way home, Old Rock was a little embarrassed that he lost his cool in front of Little Rocky like that. So in the car, he turned to Little Rocky and said, now, son, I know that Miami fan was annoying, but I should not have lost my cool like that. But Dad, Little Rocky said, I thought it was really clever. And then confused, Old Rock looked at Little Rocky and said, now, son, what do you mean by clever? And then Little Rocky let out a little giggle, looked at his dad, smiled, and finally said, well, Dad, I guess what I mean is when you kicked that Miami Hurricane right in the rear, you really kicked him where the sun doesn't shine.
Oh, my God.
Okay. He did not end that on a high.
Well, and I like how he tried to make this like a little story with a lesson, kind of foreshadowing back to their mistake, that they're a little maybe embarrassed that they said the things they said about Appalachian State, but it doesn't matter because we're going to kick that ass.
Where the sun don't shine. Got him.
I mean, I would say that whole thing was much better than the App State one, but he did lose me on the last 10% of it.
Yeah, that was... I mean, those.
It's still cringe that they're walking around doing this little flamingo thing. What is that?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, honestly,
we have to understand that's cringe to us, and this is just like normal to them.
Yeah, well,
that's probably a fraternity thing. These are frat guys that are doing that.
Well, A&M, I think more so than a lot of schools out there, have some very like cult-like tendencies. Have you guys heard about the guys that will like squeeze their nuts during like a tough play or whatever to like simulate the pain that the football team is going through?
No.
Yes, there's this at A&M. There's this whole group of men, and I don't know if they're part of like the Army Corps or like a fraternity or something, but they stand on, and you can Google this, Pete, to confirm. I'm sure there's plenty of evidence. They literally squeeze their genitals as hard as they possibly can so they can experience the pain and the suffering that the football team is going through in solidarity and support of them.
That would be more like the blue balls that like the BYU guys would be going through, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that seems more like blue balls than anything.
I don't know if this, I think I heard this from Jason, but part of the midnight yell tradition, like this has to be from him. There's part of that night, that same event every single week, is like everyone shows up and you find somebody to make out with.
Huh.
So
I thought that was just college in general.
Yeah.
But this is during the midnight yell, like when everyone's at the stadium. So you like partner up, and then whoever's like rolling solo will find another person, and then I'm pretty sure like
a little smooch action.
Yeah, I don't know why this wouldn't just pop in my head like I would be making it up. I'm pretty sure Jason told me there's some sort of like kissing thing happening during this.
I'm not surprised. And the thing about A&M is they're fully aware of how cult-like it is. Like I'm sure if we talked to Jason, he would agree. I mean, every A&M fan that I've seen like in media and stuff like that, they are aware that their traditions and, whatever you want to call it, are very odd, but they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They just don't give a fuck. That's who they are, and they love it. How about it? I mean, that part of it I can kind of respect. Like, just knowing, yeah, we're fucking crazy and we don't care. Like, that's just how it is, and it's how it's always going to be. You can respect that a little bit, but as an outsider, they look foolish.
They're just like...
And these are traditions that they keep to themselves, and you can choose to watch or not watch whatever is being streamed. You know, it's not like they're out in the open with 80,000 people yelling, fuck the Mormons.
Also true. They're just like mainstream LARPers.
Yeah. And to your point, Miguel, this is something that they've been doing probably for decades and decades and decades, and then they just started live streaming it for their students. Somebody picked up on
alumni.
Yeah, and somebody picked up on, the week where they said some stuff. I mean, I'm sure they've been saying some questionable things for a long, long time about their opponents. It's just now starting to get some attention.
Well, let's see. If we want to go ahead and look at the NFL slate of games this past week, we had 3 games come down to the very end and winning by the slimmest of margins. You had, as we had talked about earlier on in the show, the Browns and the Jets.
The Jets.
Then we had the Dolphins and the Ravens. And then we had the Raiders and the Cardinals. Each of these teams holding... 90 plus 99% chance to win, all ended up losing. And it was I had a money line bet on the Dolphins that I was glad that cashed, but like I saw that it was like at one time offering me back like 32 cents on a buyback when it was not going so well. But that cashed, Yahoo.
Yeah, I would say out of all 3 of those games, I'm most impressed with the Dolphins.
Yes.
I think absolutely. Just because the opponent, obviously.
And look, it's not like there's not one, out of all the 3 games, there's not one part of the Ravens that looked like they were about to fall apart. I mean, Lamar Jackson was
he had a historic day.
Everyone.
Yeah, everyone was going to talk about what a historic day Lamar had. And
it's Mike McDaniel. And Tua.
Yeah.
I mean
6 touchdowns.
Yeah. And honestly, I think this obviously this takes away a little bit from the Ravens, but I think this is more so the Dolphins are more serious than we might have expected. At least for me, I did not.
Maybe they're not a fluke.
Exactly. Obviously, we're in week 2, and like I said with Walsh, I'm gonna try not to make any serious claims until water settled a little bit. But the Dolphins surprised me a lot.
The Dolphins, yeah. And I mean, I think again what you're getting out of McDaniel and saying how he was going to, his mission was to turn things around for Tua. And then you have a slate of guys that he's throwing to. Did you guys also see that video where someone inverted Tua throwing as a right-hander? They just totally, I can show it to you if you haven't, but it like changed everyone's perspective of like how they're viewing him as a quarterback now. Just being able to see him, they just flipped it around and him throwing it as a righty. Kind of an interesting video. But also in one of those games that we talked about, your Browns, Myles Garrett after the game. So, after this game, fans are booing. Jimmy Haslem, the Browns owner, gets a water bottle chucked at him. That fan was identified and banned for life. There was also the Raiders-Cardinals
beheaded,
game.
I think, was...
That true. That too. In the Cardinals game, a fan goes and smacks Kyler Murray in the face. A lot of poorly behaving fans. But Myles Garrett after the game said the most disappointing thing was the fans booing us at the end. We don't want to see this crowd, this stadium, give up on us this early. We want to see them completely behind us. Blind faith there, huh, Myles?
Yeah, you gotta. This is
you
pro
can't
sports.
say that. Yeah,
this is pro sports. You want them to cheer, you play better.
Well, and the thing is with Cleveland fans, they have such a short memory because they are one of the most loyal fan bases in all of sports. And I mean, you guys might disagree, but I would argue that for sure. I mean, to go through the losing seasons, the number of quarterbacks, the number of coaches, everything, and to still hold on and cheer for this team, everyone, or for all these years, you're gonna have those moments of frustration and kind of act out and be like, you know what, fuck you. Like, it's the New York Jets, the one other team in the league that we can kind of say, fuck you. You're our one little brother. And the last 2 years we've lost to him. So, I mean, I can understand the boos a little bit. But the thing is, Myles, on Wednesday, everybody's going to be so locked in that we're going to beat the Steelers, and everybody's going to forget about that Jets loss.
Yeah, and it's just like, don't give guys fodder like this. I mean, similar to what Justin Fields did after the Bears loss, where he was saying similar, like, to the fact that, like, oh, they don't, like, fans don't put in the work. We're the ones who, like, and I mean, he said it a little bit more casually, but still the way that fans are interpreting it is negatively.
Yeah, you're better off just not making those comments.
Just don't set yourself. Just be the most medium person, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, we've judged other players and their social media activities, like Taylor Lewan talking about how he was owned and how he needs to do better. By the way, he's hurt again. But yeah, there's just don't give people that leverage to be able to say those types of things.
I will say the one thing that, if I do want to give Myles Garrett credit here, is he did word it in a way where he was just like, oh, that, you know, that's what, like, hurt him the most. He wasn't necessarily like, oh, I'm upset with the fans. It's just like, oh, you know, that sucks to hear because it's disappointing. So you could interpret that as like, hey, we got to do better, so we're not putting our fans in that position. But I don't know. Either way, it's like, dude, everything's going to be fine by Wednesday. Just beat the Steelers. That's what everybody cares about.
Like, as much as people judge asshole athletes for giving the most generic answer, like they don't want to be there, I feel like if I was in that position, that's what I will do. You can call me an asshole all you want, but I'm like, both teams played well. Both teams tried.
It's quite the Duke mentality, really. It's the Coach K, like,
but like Kevin Durant does that.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch does that. And so many NFL players, NBA players do that.
And they're still, like, universally loved.
Yeah, and also, you're going to be judged either way. You express your real feelings, or you're an asshole with generic answers. Either way, the same people that hate you are going to hate you.
Yeah.
And the same people that love you are going to stay loving you. So it doesn't matter.
A guy who did not have a generic call when he was calling the Rams and the Falcons this weekend was Mark Sanchez, who is in the booth now for Fox. Here's what he had to say about the Rams' offensive line.
I mean, Shelton's clearing out defenders faster than a teenager clears his search history on his web browser. Holy smokes.
Wait, what?
I did not hear this.
Here we go. Mark Sanchez again.
I mean, Shelton's clearing out defenders faster than a teenager clears his search history on his web browser. Holy smokes.
Mark Sanchez, confirmed big porn guy?
It sounded like he practiced that line over and over and still stumbled a little bit when it was time to.
He's got my type of delivery.
Wow.
And then the extended part of this is Kevin Kugler, who was on the call with him, goes, why would a teenager want to clear out his history?
Great response.
Yeah.
Why is the teenager clearing his search history?
I didn't really get it. I just thought it was funny.
Okay.
I'm glad he presented that question, though.
I don't get it.
I just said
thought
it.
It was funny.
Someone just said it, and I thought I would say it.
RG3 has been getting kind of wild as well.
Yeah, he was talking about orgies in an end zone.
Yeah.
The new breed of NFL analysts, I tell you
New media, as they call.
Analysts.
Oh, I see what they did there.
Get it?
Yeah.
So, Mark Sanchez with the commentary there. He's welcome to join the podcast anytime after that. Let's see. A bit of a sad transition to go to is the injury to Trey Lance. Done for the year with an ankle injury. Jimmy G comes back in almost as if it was this odd, unfortunate destiny for him. But Trey Lance done for the year, and it's Jimmy G's team again.
But it's almost like a blessing that it was never Jimmy G's team this season. Because do you see the bonus that he's getting?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're numbers for a backup quarterback, and now he's the starter. He gets a
gonna
bonus
get
for
those
every
incentives.
win. He gets a bonus for yardage, number of yards that he gets to throw, and
Right.
touchdowns. I mean, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, he can have incentives that go all the way up to about $16 or $17 million.
I mean, as a starter, he's going to hit these numbers, basically. So it's like a gimme.
Yeah, in this first one, he pulled in an extra $350,000. His base salary was $6.5 million. And let's see, what do we got? For each game that Jimmy G plays at least 25% of the snaps, he earns $250,000. If the 49ers win that game, the number jumps to $350,000. Let's see, $500,000 bonus for taking 50% of the snaps in the NFC Championship game. Another $500,000 for the Niners to win that game. $1 million bonus if the team wins the Super Bowl and he plays in 50% of the snaps. So a lot of those ones are, a little bit more difficult to achieve, but yeah, just like an extra little sprinkle.
He won't get that milli for the Super Bowl.
Here's
But
the thing.
he's essentially guaranteed $250,000 for every game he plays.
Yep. As a
yeah,
starter now.
but I mean, let's also point this out, was that he negotiated his contract down. He was scheduled to get $26 million this year. He negotiated. So technically, he could still be making
more somewhere else
if the trade went on. However, it is nice for him to be able to cash in on these incentives. So the 49ers kind of stumbling into it's really unfortunate for Trey Lance, especially after all of almost kind of this like unnecessary drama in the end.
Yeah.
But he had surgery and he's done for the year.
It was the curse of Jordan drafting him last year.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
That's what always happens.
Well, gosh, and then there was that video that I sent to the not a smart move by me, by the way. The video that I sent to the fantasy group where I just have Trey Lance just
like you
making
forgot
it
who was
rain
on
on
there.
a bunch of strippers. I immediately apologize for that, by the way.
Yeah. This is not a NSFW
I
video.
know, yeah, because I was like, it's not safe for work. We were in the middle of the workday. Just me sending stripper videos
Just
to the group.
ass and titties.
I don't think anyone responded to it.
They did not. No one. I got
said
nothing out of
anything.
that.
Because you could not recognize Trey Lance at all.
Yeah, you could if you watched it enough
I
times.
watched it like 4 times. I could not pick him out of that video.
He was in the back. He was the guy in the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Another young quarterback who is still playing, Justin Fields. It does not seem as if the Bears have any confidence in him throwing the ball at all. In 2 games, I understand that the first game was a rain out, so to speak. But every team in the NFL has at least 28 completions through 2 games. Justin Fields has just 28 pass attempts in 2 games. And I'm wondering if that's just kind of this weird scheme, if there's no faith in him.
How many completions?
Let me look that up.
He was 7 for 11 against the Packers, I believe, for less than 100 yards. He had a pick.
So he's efficient.
Sure.
If that's what you
completions to attempts wise.
Yeah.
Like
between 60 and 70%.
He was he's
but
15,
less than 100 yards.
He's 15 for 28 on the year, 53.6% completion, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns against 2 interceptions, and a 69.2% quarterback rating.
2 games, 191 yards.
Not good. Not good.
That's tough. Yeah, I
he
don't
had a
know.
QBR of 6.
Perfect. That's really what
I mean,
you
I'm
wanna
just
see.
saying, like, I'm not like siding with Justin Fields, but we can probably find 3 or 4 other quarterbacks with similar numbers at this point. Matt Ryan Tannehill.
But at least they're showing confidence in their quarterback to let them throw the ball. I think that we've seen a lot of times where that's a disadvantage. If you don't let them sling it, you're showing you're not confident in them, and that's going to create long-term effects. I'm sure there's other people with similar statistics, but to have those all be so low, I would be concerned, especially in today's NFL. It's not We're not talking 80s Bears football. You need a guy, especially somebody as athletic as Justin Fields, to be doing something.
The
out
only
there for
two starters lower than Justin Fields right now are Jimmy Garoppolo, who came in the middle of week 2, and Dak Prescott, who left in the middle of week 1.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, yeah. And the one above him was Trey Lance and Cooper Rush. And even Cooper Rush had 299 yards.
Dark horse MVP.
Yeah.
Coop Rush.
So,
Sleeper.
not so good there for good old Justin Fields. So, but yeah, I was just curious your guys' thoughts on whether or not there's faith lost in Justin Fields or not. Who knows?
Seems like
I feel
Who's the
like
backup?
Nick Foles?
Good question.
Andy Dalton?
Let's look. Bears. The Bears. Depth chart.
Give him a chance till week 4.
Trevor Siemian. So
perfect
quarterback.
I think
There's
any
no one
day of
else
the week,
after
though,
that.
you're giving Justin Fields that chance over old Trevor Siemian.
Yeah. I mean, there's just...
He had a run, though, on oh, gosh, now I forgot the guy's name. There goes my joke. The Sibian. What show was that?
Howard Stern?
Yeah, the Howard Stern. Had a good run on Howard Stern.
Dang it.
There you go.
Peter can splice it together.
If you could just cut that joke together for me.
There's weird pauses between the joke.
Letting that one go. You guys like my deflating ball joke in the Walsh interview?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Walsh
that's
didn't get it.
definitely it's not on the same level of your other jokes. That was a little bit better timing.
Yeah, it was
I think you progressed today.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
You improved.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got
But
better.
if we want to look at how this season has gone so far within the NFL, we're talking about the worst of quarterback performances so far. Most yards thrown. These are your top 3 quarterbacks. Yeah, guess.
Most yards
thrown in the first 2 weeks. The top 3 quarterbacks.
I'll admit, I know the number 1.
Josh Allen.
No. Number 1.
Tua,
739 yards.
Is Allen too?
No, he is not.
I would go to assume that Allen isn't even top 3.
Allen is not top 3.
I don't think Mahomes is either.
Neither is Mahomes. I will tell you that the top 3 are all unexpected.
To Daniel Jones.
No, Daniel Jones is... Where are you?
Unexpected? Don't.
Daniel Jones is 28.
Wait a second.
Kirk Cousins.
Do not tell me that Joe Flacco is on that list.
Joe Flacco is number 3.
Oh, my God.
616 yards for Joe Flacco.
Number 3?
63 for 103. 616
103 yards. Passes in 2 games?
Yeah, they threw
He's
50,
like 60.
They threw 59 times in week 1.
Is his arm still attached?
Yeah. Incredible.
Jesus Christ.
And where is he at? 5-1. 5 against 1. And number 2.
Geno Smith.
No, Geno's way down there.
I kind of want to keep guessing.
Yeah,
Unexpected.
Keep going. And unexpected.
It's not Cooper Rush, is it?
No.
A quarterback who maybe has gotten criticism for his accuracy.
Carson Wentz?
Carson Wentz as your number 2.
That is
what a lineup.
What are your top 3 quarterbacks by passing? Tua, Carson Wentz, and Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco being on that top 3 makes me sick.
With Carson Wentz and Tua tied with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen for the most touchdowns thrown. 7 in the first 2 weeks. Jared Goff right behind them at 6 against 1. So go him.
Wow. Joe Flacco.
What a time.
Very
Your best
unexpected.
your best quarterbacks are Carson
I was going to say,
Wentz,
if
Joe
Tua
Flacco,
wasn't on that list, you can change
Jared
that
Goff.
title to, like, who's washed up.
Oh, goodness, man.
So, quite a lineup there. That's how the 2022 season has started.
Hopefully it changes.
Well,
betting wise.
But all is the same for Kirk Cousins, Mr. Mediocre on Monday Night Football. Is now 2-10 on Monday Night Football. Has now advanced to 60-62 as his career record, and has made $201 million in his career. It was almost as if he thought that Darius Slay was his most.
Yeah, there are several memes about him just chucking it. It's like, fuck it.
Darius Slay is somewhere down there. That was so good. There was a lot of memes about it.
Yeah, I saw
Kirk
a couple
Cousins.
tweets that were like, Justin Jefferson had some lockdown D tonight.
Seriously. I mean, it's just. I mean, we were talking even prior to week 1, talking about how Minnesota can be this team that could be a thing. And now it's just kind of like, it just brings you back down to earth. And you go, okay,
You
now I know why.
You don't know what you're going to get out of
Now
the
I
weekend.
know.
But I think Walsh made mention of this. I do think that we're going to have 2, maybe 3 games. The Vikings are going to be 5 or more point underdogs, and they're going to win by 7 to 10 points against a team that you know, is much better than them.
Can totally see that happening for sure.
Especially when it starts getting cold, couple home dog games.
That's the whole point with what he said. Is,
Well, they have a dome now, don't they?
Who?
Minnesota?
Yeah.
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 Never mind then.
But that makes them one of the worst teams to bet on because you just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. So let's see. To kind of put a bow on this week, there are 8 teams that are 0-2 against the spread so far this year. Those would be the Rams, Bengals, Broncos, Colts, Raiders, Panthers, Saints, and Titans. The stat for you is since 2003 that NFL teams that start 0-2 against the spread have gone 81-64. So that's 56% in week 3. So bet wisely there as we're looking at against the spread odds.
I already erased that from my mind. I'm doing anytime touchdowns, 8 legs.
Well, and also, and I think I may have mentioned this last week, but I looked at the statistic again, and it's even more so if a team goes 0-2. But if the teams that made the playoffs last year that have started at 0-2 have a huge likelihood of winning week 3.
Yeah. There is a kind of an unfortunate stat, though, about 0-2 teams, though. Since the expansion of the playoffs a few years ago, no team that has started 0-2 has made the playoffs.
Damn.
But, I mean, the 0-2 winning week 3 is a good point with the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts, man. I mean, I've bet on them in the first 2 weeks, and we had the tie, and
maybe
then
stay away from them.
And then we had the loss. So
looking ahead real quick, I know that we have the USC Oregon State game. I know that Oregon has Washington State. Are there any like big matchups that we should try to cover
college wise?
Yeah. Well, just in our look ahead here before we close out.
Yeah, so this week, as far as big games, we have Florida and Tennessee. That's number 20 versus number 11.
Yeah, let me check.
Arkansas, Texas A&M will be a good game.
Agreed.
And
Wisconsin, Ohio State.
Oh,
Could
is
be
that
good.
right? Did I miss that on here?
I'm looking at the sheet. It's kind of placed weird, though.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like in the middle.
Clemson and Wake Forest, 5 versus 21.
Utah, ASU. You know, like you always say, a team bounces back after their coach gets fired. Do they have that fired
I don't know about that.
at home against Utah?
I don't know, Jim.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
And I don't think they have provided us with the line for that Florida Tennessee game. I don't see it. What time is that game? Will you tell me?
Florida Tennessee is at 12:30.
Are you looking at the sheet? Are you seeing where it's placed?
Okay, so Tennessee minus 10.5.
Really?
Yes, that's a little bit
Interesting.
surprising.
Yeah, they are at home.
Florida did not look good last week, though. But seeing that we are attending the USC Oregon State game, USC minus 6.5, Should we give our picks right now?
I mean, gosh,
maybe
I
get
would
a bet going on this game.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Oregon State. Essentially, like if that was at USC, would be a 9.5 point game. Is that right? Because usually you're looking at
get
3
points
at
for
home.
home.
Yikes.
Do you think that the Beavers can win, first of all?
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like the confidence is there for their team. Could that be shattered against Lincoln Riley? Absolutely. Because this is a very different USC team already. I mean, you're looking at number 7 or even higher at this point. So they could have a very humbling experience at home.
I'll take both underdogs against you for 20 each. I'll take Washington State +6, and I'll take Oregon State +6.5. 20 each.
And that's the spread on the Oregon game?
Yeah. I mean, they're favorites on the road. I'll take the Cougs +6, and I'll take Oregon State +6.5, $20 each.
Done.
Boom shaka. Boom shaka. Washington State playing in Pullman right around this time of year has always been a little tough for them.
And they have been playing fairly well.
So that's a 1:00 game.
We'll be watching that at the tailgate.
We sure will.
Yeah, we'll be there.
When it comes to
hopefully eating brisket.
Yeah, I know. I'm very excited. I should probably start defrosting that now.
Yeah.
Week 3 in the NFL, Thursday Night Football, Steelers, Browns. I agree with Walsh. I don't necessarily want to touch that game.
Browns under.
Browns under? All right,
Browns under.
You're not trying to bet this whole everything, are you?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I was just going to say. No.
Stay out of it. Do you think that the Bengals finally get right? They are on the road in New York against the Jets. Bounce back? Are they bouncing?
Yeah.
They're bouncing.
I'd like to think so, but
here's my thoughts. I think Sauce Gardner is out. That means you have Jamar Chase being guarded by your second guy, which is probably a fourth-string guy on any other team.
You still need time to throw, and he doesn't have that.
But the Jets don't have like this magnificent defensive line. The strength in their defense is their secondary. And I think Sauce Gardner is a big part of that. Making sure that you can take away every team's number one receiver with one cornerback is a huge advantage. So I don't know.
I hope so for their sake, but I don't have any faith in them right now.
Yeah. And that's understandable. I think this is, obviously is a get right game for the Bengals. And if they don't beat the Jets by 10 points, I'd be very surprised.
Most other intriguing games this weekend, Bills, Dolphins, as Walsh had alluded to as well.
Yeah.
I think Ravens, Patriots could be an interesting one, but like not exciting. I don't know. I think it'll be close, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be like, oh my gosh, we're going to come back and say, hey, what about that game?
Yeah.
And then we have the Rams and Cardinals and Packers, Bucks. And I tend to agree with Walsh on the Giants taking it to the Cowboys on Monday Night Football.
I agree. I think the Giants are better than people think. I think they're going to give the Eagles a little bit of a run for their money in that division.
Who did they play last week?
The Giants? The Giants played the
Commanders?
Who the fuck did they play last week?
Was it the Panthers?
The Panthers, yeah.
And they won,
Panthers.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're 2-0.
Yeah.
And I also think that the 49ers will get a road victory over the Broncos because the Broncos can't do anything right these days.
I know. I think the funniest thing about this whole Russell Wilson trade, now looking back at it, because you can tell with the Broncos offense, this team should be a run-dominant offense. And the whole reason he left Seattle is because they just wanted to focus on the run because that's what, helped them win. And he was like, well, no, I'm still in my prime. I can sling the ball around. And now they're in Denver. They're kind of giving him those pass attempts and opportunities. He's not, executing on it. You have two really good running backs. And it's like, well, maybe with this defense.
Yeah, and especially with Judy getting hurt and all this other stuff too. Like,
it's like,
I mean,
maybe
the
we should
writing
just
is
run
on
the
the
ball.
wall here.
So,
I mean,
sorry,
there's
Russ.
there's no Cortland Sutton. Come on, how
Yeah.
many times are we gonna say 6'5", fucking 215? How are you not finding him?
It might be time for Cortland to just go to the NBA, start dunking on fools.
I'll probably average 20 and 15.
So, any other games striking your fancies?
No, honestly, I feel like the matchups this week, besides like Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and Bills, Dolphins, not a ton of like super intriguing matchups.
I'm not really intrigued about specific matchups. I'm more intrigued about the dust settling in week 3.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find my rhythm with my gamblings.
Yeah,
I do think that there's a number of games where we might be able to identify like which direction a team is going, and so like Saints Panthers could be a good one for both of them, right? Which direction are you going as a team? The Vikings and Lions, I think, could be a difference maker for both teams. You got the Texans and Bears, and who cares? Or Raiders and Titans as well, I think can be kind of like prove it games for both of them. So
both bounce back games.
That's kind of how I see it. There are a couple things on the sheet that I will bring up next week. They're evergreen enough. But let's see. If we want to, the final thing before we get into Miguel's punishment tonight, if we want to
We
go...
can skip it.
Yeah, that's true. But we won't. We can go down on Thursday to Corvallis. Miguel, I suggest you do. The Beavers are holding walk-on tryouts on Thursday for the football team.
I'm sweating as we're sitting here.
We do have halogen lights.
I am in pain from the typhoon. I think it's probably the worst idea that I could come up with is going down there and trying out.
Oh goodness, it would be fun though.
Yes.
We gotta
film it
next year. Let's be a little bit more prepared for those days, and do a little content.
Yeah.
Reach out to these guys and be like, hey, we want to run a guy through, and we'll do that as a punishment.
Did you see that Eli Manning did that at Penn State?
Yeah, that was very funny.
He got all make-upped up
That
and
was
was
very
Chad
funny.
Powers. That was pretty great.
I think you tend to still hold on to the moments where I like to embarrass myself, and you've forgotten that we're about 3 years past that.
Yeah, maybe.
We did try the football thing, and I think we all remember how that went.
But, I mean, the team loves
That's
it.
why it's funny.
Yeah, but the team loves you when you celebrate with them at spring games.
The spring game was not that was not a physical tryout. That was dancing. I'm talking about
You're a hype man.
Coming out and fucking playing football and not being able to get in the bathtub afterwards.
Yeah.
And those are not Division I players either.
You're just delaying this. Punishment.
We're out of time.
Punishment.
We're out of time.
Punishment. Okay.
We don't have enough tape.
Miguel is this week's loser, and I'm going to go in.
Okay, and while you're doing this, I'm going to tell a little story.
A little story. Set him up.
Yeah. So we changed the scheduling the podcast this season to where we record on Tuesday nights. So obviously once the Monday night game finishes, we have almost a full day to now, discuss the punishments. We know who loses.
It's no longer a last minute thing on Monday night.
Exactly. So
scarier.
I reached out to Pete, and I won't tell the whole concept of this punishment because it is a good idea, but there's like a pain aspect involved. And let me just clarify. This is not what's happening tonight. This is not what's happening tonight. We decided on something different. But there was a suggestion that Pete had that involved taking a broomstick and smacking it against your shins. And I will read verbatim what I said back to him. I said, Jesus Christ, Pete, a broomstick across the shins? Are we running a torture chamber? And I said, I like the idea, but maybe let's stick to mouse traps. And then he re-explained the bit to me as if I didn't get it. And I was like, no, I get the bit. We just can't be breaking broomsticks over each other's shins. This is not an MMA gym.
This is why, because he comes up with the worst ones, that's when it's his turn, I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
And I want to come up with the worst shit.
Well, and I honestly, I think it might be good that we have this time, because before, you and I, Miguel, are maybe a little bit known for being a little less prepared for these types of things. And sometimes we're just like, yeah, Pete, whatever you
want.
And then it's like, and then
It's almost as if I
we're
have
recording,
been waiting for that moment.
and he's like, oh yeah, this is what it is. And then we're like, oh, wait,
What?
Suck some cream off my toe.
Yeah. It's like, wait, no. We
cannot do that.
So what's my punishment?
Well, funny as it goes, there have been a couple of moments tonight in which we have teased your punishment.
Actually, you brought it up.
You did bring it up.
Naturally.
And it was a perfect segue because there was something that I was talking about. I said I had a surplus of this thing in my household. Going to Costco, you get a big bag of this. And we had already had one, so I need to dispose of some of it. You had talked about the taste and how strong it was.
No, not raw garlic.
Raw garlic.
Come on.
And I swear to you, I can show you the text message. We talked about this at probably like 2 o'clock today.
I will throw up.
Here you go.
I'm going to throw up.
Go get him a puke bowl.
Yeah, like if you don't want me to do this outside, I'm going to throw up. I promise you. This will have the same effect as green onions.
Will it now?
Really?
Raw garlic, raw onions, raw green onions will do the same thing. I'm not grabbing it from you because I'd rather not have the smell in my hands.
Okay.
You want him to feed it to you?
I'm going to take it from there, but I will throw up.
Should I give him a half of a bulb or should he go full bulb?
I don't know. Do we want him to throw up? I mean,
I'm not being
thrown up
dramatic.
before.
I will throw up. I promise you.
We need to have a side conversation here.
I mean,
just bring me a bucket if you want me to do it. The thought of it's making me gag.
You're the final decision, Pete. We do have another option. That
a fucking broomstick on my shins?
No. No.
That will come. What if you just sucked on it? Like any amount of it will make you throw up.
You know that I don't have raw garlic or raw onions at my house.
I didn't know that. No.
I use the garlic that's from the jar.
Powder. He does powder.
I do powder.
All right, I'm getting the bowl. And you guys can decide while I'm gone whether it's full swallow, suck on, just chew up. That's up to you.
There's a red bowl like over yonder where the plates are. On the top. Boom. It's a puke bowl. It looks like a puke bowl. It's pungent. Yeah, I know. What do you want to do? Just suck on it?
Don't
or you
leave
wanna...
it up to me. It's my
not up to him.
punishment.
All right.
Eat it. That small amount. Oh, God.
Actually?
Are you serious? Seriously?
I have to eat that and swallow it.
Are you really going to...
I'm going to throw up, I promise you.
Even a suck? Even just a simple suck?
Can I plug my nose?
Yeah.
If you eat it. If you eat it. You can plug your nose if you eat it.
Is it already coming up? Yeah. Don't believe him.
I don't know if I do either.
Like we should
Have you ever
trust
seen
him.
me
but...
try to fake throwing up?
I don't know.
Like, I don't want to feel...
Plug your nose.
Hold it, okay, don't drop it on me.
You said it.
He's feeding you.
Yeah, I thought it was feeding.
I know, but there's...
Baby
like,
bird
there's a
him.
fucking
Baby
thing.
bird him.
Hold on, am I eating it?
If you're plugging your nose, you have to swallow it.
Swallow it like a pill.
Jedi Force. You got it. You got it. You got it.
Let's go.
You got it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. When they puke, it's done. When they puke, it's done.
I could.
When they
You
puke,
got
it's
so
done.
close to. I could see the
The
determination.
determination was there.
The determination.
The determination.
That's when you get a bad perm and you got to change it back.
Yeah. Oh
you're
yeah.
good.
You're so done.
I think we should make this official. I think we silently have agreed on this, but at any point we throw up, it's over.
It's over.
Yeah. I appreciate you trying. I didn't know you were like that.
I had no idea that you were that averse
Don't
either.
you like garlic rice and like garlic?
They're all cooked.
It's just raw.
I hate them raw. I don't like the smell
Don't like
of
it
them raw.
raw.
I don't like it raw. All right. Well, thanks for trying. You
Good effort.
Fucking bitch.
I guess I'll clean that bowl.
Yeah, you bitch.
I'll wash it.
Anything else?
No. See you guys at the Oregon State tailgate and at tryouts.
Yeah, be there. Be square. Clear eyes.
Sports.
Get loose.